What's up, humans? It's been a while since my last layout update, so in this one I will be talking about laying track, wiring it, and a bit of painting. But you'll see. Is that James and Dylan? Dylan and James. James and Dylan. Dylan and James. After I painted the track, I start laying it from graffiti bridge onto the layout. I will start up with the main line and the siding, but first this small piece. I always install feeder wires to every single piece of track and every switch. That's just my experience. I want the power supply to be 100% at any time. So this is the way I work. I also mount them to the bottom of the rails and not to the sides. I don't want them to be visible at the end. You can search my yard, but you won't find any feeder wires, even though every piece of track has its own feeder wires, including the switch. Maybe I will do a Where's Wally with the feeder wires in the yard in an upcoming episode. That would be funny. I use these 5 basic colors to paint the ties. After that I wash them with 2 kinds of grey and a dry brush with the last color. It's a light brown. This is what I really like about having a small layout. You can do detailed work on every small piece you're putting in. And that's why I paint my ties one by one. And after that I will give them a finish that matches the area where they will be in. So now I can put them on the layout and measure what length I need. And of course they need a base to be on. So for this part I will use some balsa wood, plywood, and on top of that some cork. In the small mock-up you can see what I'm working on at the moment. Just laid in the small piece of track on the left side, and now I'm working towards the right end of the layout. After that I can work on the 2 industrial areas on the right side and on the left side of the main line and the siding. Don't know which one I want to do first, but first let's put in the main line and the siding so I can do some runarounds. In the meantime I also ballasted the yard switch. I hope you like it. It's some fine ballast, TT scale instead of HO. At least it looks better than without ballast. And let me know in the comments if you could find the feeder wires. So I moved on to the layout through Graffiti Bridge. Oh, and if you like laying track, don't like and subscribe, because my next video will be about something completely different and will probably be causing a stir, because it will be about graffiti. And I know some of you don't like that at all. But I do, and you probably noticed that already. So I measured out all this painted track and have a look where my switches will be. I want a good run on the siding but also a good run on the lead track in front of the last switch. I mounted the cork to the plywood, so it's a solid base for the track to lay on. And after that, I will be painting it a darkish brown or black or whatever. After laying and gluing in the cork, I sanded everything smooth. Very important in the long run, trust me. That part is still drying. I also made a cut where the two halves of the layout meet each other. I designed it like this so I can split it in half, just in case I have to move it in the future. I already mentioned earlier that my feeder wires are on the bottom of the track to stay completely invisible when the layout is finished. This is the only piece where I had to solder my wires to the joiners. There was absolutely no room for them on the bridge track. They're just backup wires, so no problem. To solder the wire on the bottom, I cut off the connecting pieces of plastic between the ties, and I make just enough room for the feeder wires to get in between two ties, so I don't have to remove any ties. The loose tie will also be a neat feature when the track is finished. And now I have this grasshopper, and you already saw me putting it in, so let's move on to the bus wires. I used solid core copper wire for this, and then I soldered feeder wires to them. They go up to a terminal block, and from the terminal block up to the track. So if it's ever necessary, I can just pull out a piece of track and put in a new piece. I don't want to make use of any connectors in this, pure for reliability. I had too many problems with faulty connectors or track losing power because of the lack of feeder wires. So that's why I do every piece of track with its own wires. Not soldering the track together with the joiners will leave space for the track to expand when it's getting warm. Track will always expand, and when it starts to work, it will come up or worse. But that's just my experience. I think laying track and detailing it is the most important part for my layout. Eventually I want smooth and slow operations and really reliable track without any problems, especially when it's all covered with ballast and paint and everything it needs to look realistic. I hope you enjoyed yourself with this video, and see me soon. One love.